Ladies and gentlemen, today I want to talk about a force so powerful, so transformative that it can shape your reality, determine your success, and even dictate the quality of your life. It's not your circumstances, it's not your past, and it's not the opinions of others. It's the voice inside your head, the conversations you have with yourself every single day. Yes, I'm talking about the power of positive self-talk. Let's get real. Your mind is like fertile soil. Whatever seeds you plant there, whether they're seeds of doubt, fear, empowerment, will grow into the reality you live in it. The question is, what are you planting? For too many of us, the voice inside our head has turned into a harsh critic, constantly pointing out what's wrong, what we lack, or why we can't succeed. Then let me ask you, would you let anyone else talk to you the way you talk to yourself? If the answer is no, it's time for a change. Here's the truth. Your brain believes what you tell it. When you say, I can't, your brain goes, okay, boss, and shuts down creativity, resourcefulness, and drive. But when you say, I can figure this out, your brain gets to work. It finds solutions, it attracts opportunities, and it builds momentum. Positive self-talk is not about lying to yourself or ignoring challenges. It's about reframing the narrative. Instead of saying, I'm not good enough, you say, I'm learning and growing every day. Instead of, I always mess up, you say, I'm improving with every effort I make. Let me break it down for you. Your mind is one of the most powerful tools you possess, capable of shaping your reality and determining the course of your life. It operates much like fertile soil, waiting for you to plant seeds that will grow and flourish. These seeds are your thoughts, beliefs, and attitudes. Whether they yield a lush, thriving garden or a barren wasteland depends entirely on what you choose to cultivate. Every thought you have is a seed. Some are positive, filled with hope, ambition, and possibility, while others are negative, laden with doubt, fear, and limitation. The soul of your mind doesn't discriminate. It nurtures whatever you plant, whether constructive or destructive. This is why it's so critical to be intentional about the seeds you sow. If you consistently plant seeds of negativity, self-doubt, and failure, those are the crops you'll harvest. On the other hand, when you plant seeds of positivity, resilience, and growth, your mind becomes a flourishing environment for success and fulfillment. And the challenge lies in recognizing the seeds you're planting. So many of us go through life on autopilot, unaware of the negative self-talk we perpetuate. I'm not good enough, I'll never succeed, why even try? These statements often feel harmless in the moment, but they take root in your mind, growing stronger and more influential over time. Left unchecked, they can form the basis of your identity, shaping how you see yourself and the world around you. You, just as a gardener must pull weeds to protect their crops, you must identify and remove these negative thoughts. But it's not enough to simply eliminate the weeds, you must replace them with healthier seeds. When you catch yourself thinking, I'm not capable of doing this, consciously replace it with, I'm learning and growing with every step I take. When you feel overwhelmed by fear of failure, remind yourself this is a challenge, not an end. I'm resilient and I'll find my way. These positive affirmations act as seeds of empowerment, giving you the strength to persevere and thrive. Planting the right seeds also requires consistency and effort. A farmer doesn't plant once and walk away. They nurture their crops daily, watering them, providing sunlight, and protecting them from pests. Your mind works the same way. It's not enough to think one positive thought and expect it to change your life. You need to cultivate a habit of positive thinking, reinforcing it daily. Journaling, visualization, and practicing gratitude are excellent tools for maintaining this habit. Each time you engage in these practices, you're feeding and nurturing the seeds of positivity you've planted. Your environment also plays a crucial role in shaping the garden of your mind. Just as a gardener chooses nutrient-rich soil and avoids planting in toxic ground, you must be mindful of the influences around you. Surround yourself with people who uplift and encourage you, consume content that inspires and educates, and seek out experiences that broaden your perspective. These external factors act as fertilizer, enriching your mental soil and supporting the growth of your positive seeds. Conversely, toxic relationships, negative media, and stagnant routines can poison your mind, making it harder for healthy seeds to thrive. As you cultivate the garden of your mind, you'll begin to notice a shift in your reality. The crops you harvest, your achievements, relationships, and sense of fulfillment are direct reflections of the seeds you've planted. When your thoughts are rooted in positivity and possibility, you naturally attract opportunities, solutions, and support. Your confidence grows, your resilience strengthens, and your capacity to overcome obstacles expands. But remember, even the most carefully tended garden isn't immune to storms. Life will inevitably throw challenges your way, testing the strength of your roots. During these times, it's essential to trust in the process and maintain your focus. A storm may scatter debris and uproot some plants, but it also clears the way for new growth. Embrace these moments as opportunities to plant fresh seeds and nurture your garden with even greater care. Your mind's potential is limitless. It can nurture a barren landscape into a lush paradise, but only if you take responsibility for what you plant and how you care for it. The power lies entirely in your hands. Choose your seeds wisely, tend them with love and patience, and watch as your life transforms into a reflection of the beautiful garden you've created within. So ask yourself, what seeds are you planting today? Are they ones that will bring you closer to the life you dream of, or ones that will hold you back? The choice is yours, and the possibilities are endless. Let your mind be the fertile soil where the seeds of your greatest aspirations take root, grow, and flourish. The inner critic is a voice that resides within all of us. It's the nagging whisper that questions our abilities, amplifies our mistakes, and tells us we're not good enough. For some, this voice is loud and persistent, constantly pointing out flaws and undermining confidence. For others, it's subtle, lurking in the background, but powerful enough to create doubt and hesitation. While the inner critic often masquerades as a form of self-protection or motivation, its true effect is limiting, holding you back from realizing your full potential. To grow, succeed, and thrive, you must challenge this voice and reclaim the narrative of your life. But the first step in challenging the inner critic is recognizing its presence. Too often, we accept negative self-talk as truth without questioning its validity. Statements like, "I'm terrible at this," "I always fail," or "I don't deserve success" may play on repeat in your mind, shaping your self-image and decisions. Pause for a moment and consider, would you speak to a friend or loved one in the same way? And if the answer is no, then why allow yourself to endure such criticism? Becoming aware of this negative dialogue is essential because you can't change what you don't acknowledge. Once you've identified the inner critic, it's time to confront it. Start by questioning its legitimacy. Where does this voice come from? Often the inner critic is born from past experiences, comments from others, societal expectations, or moments of failure that left a mark. But just because these experiences happen doesn't mean they define who you are today. The inner critic tends to generalize and exaggerate, turning isolated incidents into absolute truths. For example, one failed attempt might lead it to declare you'll never succeed. Challenge this by looking at the facts. Have you succeeded in other areas? Have you learned and grown since that failure? Most likely the answer is yes. A powerful tool in silencing the inner critic is reframing. Instead of accepting its harsh judgments, reframe them into constructive statements. For instance, if the critic says, "You're not smart enough to handle this," counter with, "I may not have all the answers yet, but I'm capable of learning and finding solutions." This shift changes the narrative from one of limitation to one of possibility. It transforms criticism into motivation and empowers you to take action instead of feeling paralyzed by doubt. Another effective strategy is to practice self-compassion. The inner critic thrives on perfectionism and the fear of failure, making you feel inadequate when you fall short. Self-compassion allows you to treat yourself with kindness and understanding, even when things don't go as planned. Remind yourself that making mistakes is a natural part of growth, not a sign of weakness. When you replace self-judgment with self-acceptance, the critic loses its power to shame and discourage you. It's also important to set boundaries with the inner critic. You don't have to engage with every negative thought that arises. Visualize the critic as a separate entity, a voice you can observe but don't have to obey. When it starts to speak, acknowledge it, but don't let it dictate your actions or beliefs. For example, you might say to yourself, "I hear that thought, but it doesn't define me. I choose to focus on what I can do, not on what I fear." By creating this separation, you're freaking control over your thoughts and emotions. One of the most effective ways to quiet the inner critic is to focus on your strengths and achievements. And the critic has a way of magnifying weaknesses while ignoring everything you've done well. Take time to reflect on your accomplishments, big or small, and celebrate your progress. And keep a journal of moments when you overcame challenges, received praise, or achieved something meaningful. When the critic tries to tear you down, revisit these entries as a reminder of your resilience and capability. Surrounding yourself with supportive people can also make a significant difference. The inner critic often thrives in isolation, feeding on insecurities and self-doubt. Sharing your thoughts with trusted friends, mentors, or loved ones can provide perspective and encouragement, and they can help you see the positive aspects of yourself that the critic ignores and remind you of your worth when you forget. Finally, remember that challenging the inner critic is an ongoing process. It won't disappear overnight, and there will be times when it sneaks back in. But with awareness, practice, and persistence, you can weaken its hold and replace its negativity with a more empowering and compassionate voice. The inner critic is not your enemy. It's simply a misguided part of your mind trying to protect you from failure or rejection. By challenging it, you don't just silence a negative voice. You create space for a new one, a voice that encourages, uplifts, and believes in your potential. And with this new voice, there's no limit to what you can achieve. The human brain is an incredibly powerful organ, capable of processing vast amounts of information and generating thoughts, emotions, and behaviors that shape our lives. One of its most remarkable features is its ability to believe whatever you tell it. It doesn't discriminate between what's true and what's false. It simply accepts what you repeatedly tell it and builds your reality around those beliefs. This is why the thoughts you feed your brain can have such a profound impact on your success, your happiness, and even your self-worth. Every time you tell yourself something, your brain takes it in as fact. Whether you're consciously aware of it or not, the mind processes these statements, reinforcing beliefs that shape your actions and ultimately your experiences. For example, if you tell yourself, "I'm terrible at public speaking," your brain will interpret this as a core belief. It will then focus on evidence that supports this thought and filter out evidence that contradicts it. This belief might lead you to avoid speaking opportunities, feel anxious when presenting, and struggle with self-doubt. Over time, this cycle can become self-fulfilling, confirming the original belief. However, the brain doesn't just believe negative or limiting statements, it believes positive ones too. If you repeatedly tell yourself, "I am capable of achieving my goals," your brain will accept this as truth. It will then begin to focus on opportunities, strengths, and solutions that support your belief in your abilities. When you believe in your potential, you begin to act in ways that align with that belief, taking risks, seizing opportunities, and pushing through obstacles with determination. Your brain doesn't know the difference between a belief that empowers you and one that holds you back. It simply reacts to the patterns you establish through your thoughts. The power of this process lies in repetition. The more you reinforce a belief, the more deeply it is ingrained in your mind. This is why habits, both good and bad, are formed. If you tell yourself every day that you're not good enough, that you'll never succeed, or that you're not worthy of happiness, your brain will start to build a framework around those beliefs. It will seek out validation for them, focusing on failures and challenges while ignoring moments of success or progress. Over time, this repetitive cycle creates a self-image rooted in fear, limitation, and insecurity. But the good news is that you can reprogram your brain. Just as negative beliefs can be ingrained through repetition, positive beliefs can be cultivated the same way. It starts with becoming aware of the thoughts you're feeding your mind. When you catch yourself thinking negative or limiting thoughts, you can interrupt the cycle by consciously replacing them with more empowering statements. For instance, instead of thinking, "I'll never be able to do this," replace it with, "This is a challenge, but I am capable of finding a solution." Repeating this new thought consistently helps your brain shift its focus from limitations to possibilities. Another powerful tool for reprogramming your brain is visualization. When you visualize yourself succeeding, whether it's acing a presentation, completing a project, or achieving a personal goal, you send a message to your brain that success is possible. The more vividly and emotionally you experience these visualizations, the more your brain will believe that success is within reach. The brain doesn't differentiate between real and imagined experiences in terms of emotional impact, which is why visualization can be so effective in rewiring your beliefs and behaviors. Affirmations are another way to retrain your brain. These are positive, present tense statements that you repeat to yourself regularly. For example, affirmations like "I am confident," "I am worthy of success," or "I am capable of overcoming challenges" can have a profound impact on the brain. When you speak these words, you are directly feeding your brain a new narrative, one that aligns with your highest potential. Over time, these affirmations can replace the negative self-talk that holds you back and shift your mental programming toward empowerment. Your environment plays a significant role in what your brain believes as well. Surrounding yourself with positive influences, people who encourage and support you, books that inspire you, and media that uplifts you reinforces positive beliefs and nurtures your growth. Conversely, a toxic environment filled with negativity can feed the inner critic and cement limiting beliefs. Pay attention to the content you consume and the people you spend time with, as they can either nurture or hinder the beliefs you are cultivating. Beliefs are not fixed, they are fluid, and they can change over time. The key is consistency. If you want to create new beliefs that support your success, happiness, and well-being, you must commit to feeding your brain new, empowering thoughts every day. This takes time, effort, and patience, but the rewards are worth it. The more you practice positive self-talk, visualization, and affirmations, the more your brain will begin to accept these new beliefs as truth. Remember, your brain is not an impartial observer. It's an active participant in the creation of your reality. It believes what you tell it, and it works tirelessly to bring those beliefs to life. So if you want to change your life, start by changing the narrative you feed your mind. The power to reshape your thoughts, beliefs, and actions is in your hands. All it takes is the commitment to speak to yourself with kindness, belief, and determination. When you do, your brain will respond by helping you manifest the life you've always dreamed. Our lives are shaped by the stories we tell ourselves. Every experience, challenge, and triumph is filtered through the lens of our internal narrative. Whether we realize it or not, this narrative controls how we view the world, how we see ourselves, and how we approach opportunities. The problem arises when the narrative we've crafted is one of limitation, self-doubt, or negativity. These stories can confine us, preventing us from stepping into our full potential. But the good news is that we have the power to change this narrative. We can reframe the stories we tell ourselves to unlock greater strength, resilience, and success. Reframing the narrative begins with recognizing that the way we interpret events is not always the truth. How we respond to challenges, setbacks, or even successes is often colored by our beliefs and past experiences. For example, if you fail at something, your internal narrative might tell you, "I'm a failure," or "I can't do anything right," but these statements are not the truth, they are simply the story you've chosen to believe. The reality is that failure is a part of the learning process. It's a stepping stone, not a permanent label. Reframing involves shifting the perspective so that you can see setbacks as opportunities for growth, rather than defining moments of defeat. This shift in perspective doesn't come naturally for everyone. Our brains are wired to remember negative experiences more vividly than positive ones, a phenomenon known as the negativity bias. This bias is a survival mechanism that evolved to help us avoid danger, but in modern life it can lead to an overwhelming focus on our mistakes and shortcomings. If you face failure or criticism in the past, your mind may default to the belief that you're not good enough or that success is beyond your reach. Reframing the narrative requires consciously challenging this bias and choosing to focus on the lessons learned and the progress made, rather than dwelling on perceived shortcomings. A key part of reframing is understanding that your story is not fixed. Just because you've experienced failure, rejection, or hardship doesn't mean that these experiences define who you are or what you are capable of. In fact, these challenges often hold valuable lessons that can propel you towards success if you allow them to. By reframing your narrative, you take control of the meaning you assign to these experiences. Instead of viewing failure as evidence of your inadequacy, you can reframe it as a necessary step in your journey, an opportunity to grow, learn, and ultimately improve. Reframing also involves challenging the labels you've assigned to yourself. Many of us define ourselves by our past mistakes, flaws, or perceived weaknesses. These labels can become limiting, locking us into a narrow understanding of who we are and what we are capable of. If you've ever thought, "I'm not good enough," or "I'm just not a creative person," these labels can hold you back from reaching your true potential. Reframing the narrative means recognizing that these labels are not fixed truths. You are not your past mistakes, nor are you bound by any single identity. You are a constantly evolving individual capable of change, growth, and reinvention. In order to reframe effectively, you must first become aware of the language you use with yourself. The words we speak to ourselves shape our perception of reality. When we say things like, "I can't," "I'm not good enough," or "I'm afraid," we are reinforcing a limiting belief system. These words close off possibility and reinforce fear. On the other hand, words like, "I am capable," "I am learning," and "I am open to new possibilities" open the door to growth. Reframing the narrative involves changing your self-talk to reflect a mindset of possibility, resilience, and self-compassion. It's also important to recognize that reframing isn't about denying reality or pretending that challenges don't exist. Life is full of obstacles and setbacks are inevitable. What reframing allows you to do is to approach these obstacles with a new mindset. Instead of viewing them as insurmountable barriers, you begin to see them as temporary challenges that can be overcome. For example, instead of saying, "This is too hard," "I can't do it," try telling yourself, "This is a challenge, but I am capable of finding a way." This subtle shift in language can make a huge difference in how you approach obstacles and in how you ultimately overcome them. Another powerful aspect of reframing is focusing on gratitude. When you take the time to acknowledge what's going well in your life, you begin to shift your focus away from what's lacking. Gratitude helps to counteract the negativity bias and reminds you of the abundance in your life. Whether it's the support of loved ones, the lessons you've learned, or the opportunities that lie ahead. By reframing your narrative to include gratitude, you shift your mindset from one of scarcity to one of abundance. Lastly, reframing requires patience and practice. It's not a one-time fix, it's an ongoing process of rewiring your brain and shifting your perspective. It involves consistently challenging your old beliefs, replacing them with more empowering ones, and reinforcing those new beliefs through repetition and action. Over time, this shift in mindset will transform the way you approach life, helping you to move beyond limiting beliefs and embrace your full potential. Ultimately, reframing the narrative is about reclaiming your power. It's about taking control of the stories you tell yourself and recognizing that you are not defined by your past, your failures, or your perceived limitations. By shifting your perspective and embracing a mindset of possibility and growth, you open yourself up to a future filled with opportunity, fulfillment, and success. So start today. Rewrite the story you've been telling yourself and watch as your life begins to reflect the strength, resilience, and potential you've always had within you. Language is far more than a tool for communication. It is a powerful force that shapes how we experience the world and, in turn, how we feel. The words we use both in our conversations with others and in our internal dialogues can influence our emotions in profound ways. The relationship between language and emotion is complex, as the language we choose to describe our thoughts, experiences, and feelings impacts how we perceive and respond to them. This connection demonstrates the profound influence language has over our mental and emotional states. The words we use to describe an event or situation are not neutral. They carry with them a weight of meaning, context, and association that can color our emotional response. For example, if you describe a difficult situation as a challenge, you may approach it with a mindset of growth and determination. You might feel motivated to find solutions, as the word challenge implies that there is an opportunity for success. In contrast, if you use the word problem, the emotional tone may shift to one of frustration or helplessness. A problem can feel overwhelming and insurmountable, triggering feelings of anxiety or defeat. The subtle shift in language between challenge and problem can determine whether you face adversity with confidence or succumb to stress and worry. The power of language is not confined to external interactions. Our internal dialogue, how we speak to ourselves, has an even greater impact on our emotions and mental well-being. When we consistently use negative, critical, or limiting language in our self-talk, we reinforce negative emotions. For example, if you tell yourself, "I'm not good enough," or "I always fail," your emotional state will align with these statements. The brain, which is designed to believe whatever we tell it, absorbs these negative words and shapes your self-perception around them. This can lead to feelings of shame, guilt, frustration, or sadness, creating a cycle that's difficult to break. On the other hand, when we use positive, compassionate language in our self-talk, we can shift our emotional state toward feelings of empowerment, hope, and confidence. For instance, instead of thinking, "I'm not good enough," replace it with, "I am capable of growth and learning." These words help to challenge the limiting beliefs that may hold you back and encourage a more constructive, resilient mindset. By using affirmations or speaking to yourself with kindness, you can change the way you feel about yourself, your abilities, and your life. Language also shapes the emotions we feel by framing our experiences. The stories we tell about ourselves and our lives are constructed using language, and the way we tell these stories profoundly influences how we feel. If you describe a past experience in a way that focuses on what went wrong, what you lacked, or how you were powerless, you reinforce negative emotions such as regret, anger, or sadness. However, if you reframe the same experience using language that highlights the lessons learned, the strength gained, or the opportunities that arose, you shift the emotional tone to one of growth, resilience, and hope. This reframing is not about denying the difficulties or pain of the past, but rather about choosing a perspective that serves you, helping you move forward with more positive emotions. Another way language shapes emotion is through the collective language of society. The way we speak about certain experiences or emotions can influence how we collectively feel about them. Take, for example, the language surrounding mental health. If we continue to use words like weak or crazy to describe those struggling with mental illness, we perpetuate stigma, making it harder for individuals to seek help and feel supported. However, when we use language that is compassionate, supportive, and non-judgmental, such as struggling with depression or seeking mental wellness, we create a space that fosters understanding and empathy. The words we use to describe others shape how we, as a society, relate to them and influence the emotional atmosphere surrounding these issues. In the context of relationships, language plays a crucial role in emotional dynamics. The words we choose to communicate with our loved ones can either build or erode trust, intimacy, and connection. If we use language that is harsh, dismissive, or critical, it can hurt the other person, leading to feelings of anger, resentment, or sadness. On the other hand, when we choose words that are kind, validating, and encouraging, we strengthen our relationships and foster positive emotions. In relationships, language isn't just about exchanging information, it's a tool for expressing empathy, understanding, and love. The link between language and emotion also extends to the broader world of media, culture, and social interactions. The way the media frames certain issues, people, or events can have a significant impact on public emotions. Words used to describe political movements, social issues, or even celebrities can create polarized emotional responses. For example, labeling a protest as a riot versus a peaceful demonstration can evoke vastly different emotional reactions, such as fear and anger versus solidarity and hope. The language used by the media has the power to shape public perception, and consequently collective emotion. The impact of language on emotion is not just about words themselves, it's also about the stories and meanings we attach to them. Each word carries emotional weight, informed by personal experiences, cultural influences, and societal norms. When we become more aware of the language we use both internally and externally, we can begin to take control of our emotional responses. By choosing words that empower, uplift, and encourage, we create a more positive emotional landscape, both for ourselves and for those around us. In conclusion, language is an incredibly powerful tool in shaping our emotional lives. The words we use to describe our experiences, ourselves, and the world around us have the power to influence how we feel, how we act, and how we relate to others. By being mindful of our language and making intentional choices to use words that foster positivity, growth, and compassion, we can create a more empowering emotional reality for ourselves and those we interact with. Language is not just a tool for communication, it's a tool for emotional transformation. Emotions are powerful forces that influence nearly every decision we make and every action we take. While our thoughts and logical reasoning play a role in shaping our behavior, it is often our emotions that drive us to act, whether it's in moments of intense passion, fear, excitement, or frustration. The connection between emotion and action is undeniable. How we feel shapes what we do, how we approach challenges, and how we respond to others. Understanding this dynamic can help us gain more control over our lives, leading to more intentional and meaningful actions. At the core of this connection lies the concept that emotions are signals. They are the body's way of alerting us to the significance of an event or situation. For example, when we feel fear, it is often because our subconscious perceives a threat or danger, prompting us to take action to protect ourselves. Similarly, excitement signals an opportunity or potential reward, encouraging us to pursue a goal. Anger may motivate us to stand up for ourselves or others, while sadness might push us to seek comfort or understanding. Each emotion serves a purpose and influences our decisions by pushing us in different directions, both consciously and unconsciously. When emotions are intense, they often override rational thought. For example, in moments of anger or frustration, individuals may act impulsively, saying or doing things they might later regret. The emotional drive in these instances can be so overwhelming that it takes precedence over logical reasoning or consideration of consequences. This can be seen in heated arguments or spur-of-the-moment decisions made during moments of intense stress. While this reaction is a natural part of the human experience, it's essential to recognize the role emotions play in these moments and learn how to manage them to avoid making rash choices that might negatively impact our lives. On the other hand, when emotions are positive, such as joy, excitement, or love, they can propel us forward, fueling action with energy and enthusiasm. When we are excited about a project or goal, we are more likely to take the necessary steps to move it forward, often putting in extra time and effort because of the emotional rewards associated with progress. Passion and emotions, like those tied to creativity, purpose, or love, have the power to keep us focused and motivated even when obstacles arise. For instance, a person who is deeply passionate about their work may continue to push forward, even through challenges, simply because they feel driven by an internal sense of purpose. Emotions also influence how we interact with others. The way we feel about someone, whether it's love, appreciation, or resentment, directly affects our behavior toward them. If we are angry with someone, we may avoid them, be curt with them, or even lash out. On the other hand, feelings of warmth or affection can drive us to be kinder, more supportive, and more engaged in positive interactions. Our emotional state influences not only how we respond to others, but also how we perceive their actions, which can create a feedback loop of positive or negative interactions. Emotions often propel us into action by aligning with our goals, values, and desires. The desire for happiness, success, and fulfillment, for instance, motivates us to act in ways that are aligned with these outcomes. If we feel deeply about something, whether it's our family, career, or personal development, that emotion will drive us to take the necessary steps to achieve what we value. If you are motivated by the emotion of pride in your work, it can push you to produce high-quality results and seek continuous improvement. Similarly, when a person feels the emotion of love for a cause, they may become deeply invested in supporting that cause, whether it's through time, energy, or resources. Emotions are often the spark that ignites action in pursuit of these deeply held goals. The connection between emotion and action can also be seen in how we react to stress. Stress is an emotion that, while unpleasant, is meant to propel us into action. The body's fight or flight response activates when stress is triggered, pushing us to either confront the challenge head-on or escape from the threat. While this reaction is meant to protect us, in modern society, stress is often triggered by more abstract challenges, such as work pressures or social anxiety. Despite the source of the stress, the emotional response still compels us to act, whether that's by problem-solving, seeking support, or taking steps to alleviate the pressure. Emotion plays a critical role in decision-making, particularly in situations where there is uncertainty or risk. Studies in psychology have shown that people often make decisions based on how they feel about an option, even more so than on rational analysis or data. For example, when choosing between two potential opportunities, the emotional appeal of one, such as excitement, passion, or a sense of fulfillment, may lead a person to choose that option, even if the other option might appear more practical or sensible. This is why people sometimes make decisions based on their gut feelings or intuition. Their emotions are providing them with an emotional signal about what feels right. This decision-making process highlights how powerful emotions are in determining the actions we take. The ability to channel and control emotions is essential to using them as a driving force for positive action. When emotions are unchecked or unmanaged, they can lead to destructive behavior, impulsiveness, or inaction. However, when we develop emotional intelligence and learn how to recognize, understand, and direct our emotions, we gain the power to use them as a force for growth, achievement, and connection. By cultivating a positive emotional state and understanding the underlying emotions behind our actions, we can make more deliberate and effective choices. Emotions drive action by providing the motivation, energy, and direction to pursue goals, protect ourselves, or build connections. Whether these emotions are positive or negative, they always serve as catalysts for behavior. By recognizing the influence emotions have on our actions and learning to channel them constructively, we can create a life that is guided by intentional, meaningful choices. Understanding that emotions are the fuel for action enables us to tap into their power and use them to propel us toward a life that aligns with our values, dreams, and aspirations. Action is the bridge between intention and achievement. It is the tangible manifestation of our goals, dreams, and desires. Without action, all the plans, ideas, and aspirations we hold remain abstract concepts. Action is the driving force that converts thoughts into reality and transforms potential into results. It is through consistent and purposeful action that we create change, build success, and move closer to our objectives. The link between action and results is undeniable. The more we act, the more we accomplish. The key is understanding how to leverage action effectively to produce the outcomes we seek. At its core, action is about doing. It's about taking that first step, no matter how small, toward what we want to achieve. In many cases, the most challenging part of any journey is getting started. Fear of failure, uncertainty, or lack of confidence can all create hesitation, but action is the antidote to these feelings. When we take action, we begin to break through the barriers that hold us back. This initial movement is often the catalyst for further momentum. The simple act of starting creates a ripple effect that leads to more actions, more steps, and ultimately more results. Even when the action doesn't immediately lead to success, it provides invaluable learning experiences that guide future actions. Action also fosters growth. When we act, we open ourselves up to experiences that allow us to learn, adapt, and improve. Every action, regardless of its outcome, offers an opportunity to gather information, assess our progress, and refine our approach. It is through trial and error, through action and feedback, that we grow and evolve. This process of learning through doing is essential for building skills, expertise, and confidence. As we continue to take action, we expand our knowledge, overcome obstacles, and become more capable of achieving our goals. One of the most important aspects of action is consistency. A single act, while important, is not enough to produce lasting results. Consistent action, taken over time, is what leads to sustainable change and long-term success. Whether it's working on a personal development goal, building a business, or improving a skill, the results are directly proportional to the amount of focused, sustained effort we put into it. Success doesn't happen overnight. It's the cumulative effect of consistent action, compounded over time, that leads to breakthrough moments and significant achievements. This is why persistence is often considered a key ingredient of success. The more we persist through challenges, setbacks, and failures, the more we continue to build momentum toward our desired results. Action also creates accountability. When we take action toward our goals, we create a sense of responsibility for ourselves and our progress. This accountability can serve as a powerful motivator, pushing us to continue even when motivation wanes. Setting specific actions and deadlines forces us to follow through on our commitments, making it more difficult to procrastinate or make excuses. As we take consistent action and measure our progress, we create a feedback loop that reinforces our drive to keep moving forward. Action holds us accountable not only to our goals, but also to the promises we make to ourselves. However, action alone is not enough. It must be aligned with intention and purpose. When we take action without clarity or direction, it can feel aimless and unproductive. It's important to understand the why behind the action we take. The more we align our actions with our values, goals, and vision, the more meaningful and fulfilling the results will be. When our actions are purposeful and driven by a clear sense of direction, they are far more likely to produce outcomes that align with what we truly desire. Intentional action is far more effective than mindless activity, and it leads to results that are both impactful and satisfying. Another key factor in turning action into results is overcoming resistance. Resistance is a natural part of the process. It can come in many forms: procrastination, self-doubt, fear of failure, or the temptation to avoid discomfort. However, resistance is also a sign that we are on the right path. Whenever we feel resistance, it often means that we are stretching beyond our comfort zone, growing and moving towards something greater. The key is to not let resistance stop us from taking action. By recognizing resistance as part of the journey and learning how to push through it, we create the conditions for achieving our desired results. Taking action also means making decisions and embracing responsibility. When we make the decision to act, we are also taking responsibility for the outcomes that result. This accountability can be empowering because it gives us control over our destiny. When we recognize that our actions directly impact the results we achieve, we become more proactive and intentional in how we approach our goals. This sense of ownership encourages us to stay focused, make informed decisions, and continuously seek improvement. Sometimes taking action means being willing to take risks. The path to results is rarely without uncertainty. In fact, the willingness to step into the unknown and embrace risk is often what separates those who achieve their goals from those who don't. Taking risks doesn't mean acting recklessly, but rather being brave enough to venture beyond the familiar and take the necessary steps that could lead to greater rewards. When we take calculated risks, we put ourselves in a position to experience growth, innovation, and transformation. Ultimately, the results we achieve are a direct reflection of the action we take. The more aligned, consistent, and purposeful our actions are, the greater the results we can expect. Our results are not always immediate, and setbacks may occur along the way, but the key is to continue taking action, no matter how small, and trusting the process. Every step we take toward our goal, every action we make, brings us closer to the success we envision. Action is the force that propels us forward, helping us to overcome challenges, learn from mistakes, and ultimately create the life and results we desire. In conclusion, action is the key to creating results. It is through action that we translate our thoughts and desires into tangible outcomes. Consistent, purposeful action leads to growth, learning, and success. By taking responsibility for our actions, overcoming resistance, and aligning our efforts with our goals, we create the conditions for remarkable results. Action is not just a means to an end, it is the very process through which transformation happens. So, take action today. no matter how small, and trust that every step you take will bring you closer to the results you seek. Negative thoughts are a natural part of the human experience, but they can also be incredibly limiting. If left unchecked, these thoughts can cloud our perception of reality, hinder our progress, and even affect our emotional and physical well-being. The good news is that we have the power to catch and replace these negative thoughts with more positive, empowering ones. By becoming aware of our internal dialogue and taking intentional steps to shift it, we can change the way we think, feel, and act, ultimately creating a life that aligns more closely with our goals and desires. The first step in catching negative thoughts is becoming aware of them. Often, negative thoughts run on autopilot in the background of our minds, influencing our emotions and actions without us even realizing it. We might tell ourselves that we're not good enough, that we'll never succeed, or that things will never improve. These thoughts can be so ingrained that they feel like facts, and they can shape the way we approach challenges, relationships, and opportunities. The key is to pause and observe our thoughts as they arise. This can be done through mindfulness practices, journaling, or simply being more present and aware of our mental state. When we notice a negative thought, we can then acknowledge it without judgment, creating space for change. Once we've identified a negative thought, the next step is to challenge it. Negative thoughts are often based on assumptions, beliefs, or past experiences that may no longer be relevant or true. For example, if you think, "I'm terrible at this," ask yourself, is that really true? Or what evidence do I have to support this thought? Often, we find that the negative thought is an exaggeration or distortion of reality. By questioning the validity of the thought, we can begin to weaken its grip on us. This process of challenging negative thoughts is a powerful tool for breaking the cycle of self-doubt and limiting beliefs. It helps us recognize that not every thought we have is accurate or helpful. After challenging the negative thought, the next step is to replace it with a more positive and realistic thought. Replacing negative thoughts is not about ignoring reality or pretending that everything is perfect. Rather, it's about choosing a perspective that is more empowering and constructive. For instance, instead of thinking, "I'll never be successful," you might replace it with, "I may face challenges, but I am capable of overcoming them and learning from each experience." This shift in mindset allows us to reframe the situation in a way that encourages growth and resilience rather than defeat. By consistently replacing negative thoughts with positive alternatives, we gradually retrain our brains to focus on possibilities, strengths, and opportunities rather than obstacles and limitations. One of the most effective ways to replace negative thoughts is to use affirmations. Affirmations are positive statements that help us reprogram our subconscious mind and shift our focus toward more empowering beliefs. For example, if you catch yourself thinking, "I'm not good enough," you can replace that thought with an affirmation like, "I am worthy of success and capable of achieving my goals." Repeating affirmations regularly can help to solidify these new positive beliefs in your mind, eventually replacing the old, limiting thoughts. The more we affirm our strengths, abilities, and potential, the more we begin to believe in them. It's also important to practice self-compassion when dealing with negative thoughts. Often we are our harshest critics, and negative thoughts can be a reflection of self-judgment or fear of failure. Instead of criticizing yourself for having negative thoughts, treat yourself with the same kindness and understanding that you would offer a friend. Recognize that everyone experiences negative thoughts from time to time, and it's okay to feel imperfect. Self-compassion allows us to let go of the shame or guilt that often accompanies negative thinking, making it easier to shift our mindset without feeling defeated. By embracing ourselves with kindness, we create an environment where positive change can take place. In addition to replacing negative thoughts with positive ones, it's important to take action that aligns with your desired mindset. Our thoughts and actions are interconnected. When we take actions that reflect our new positive beliefs, we reinforce those beliefs and create evidence that supports them. For example, if you catch yourself thinking, "I'll never be able to complete this project," replace it with, "I will take one step at a time and make progress each day." Then, take action by breaking the project into smaller, manageable tasks and working on them consistently. As you take action and see results, you'll strengthen your belief in your abilities and begin to create momentum that propels you forward. Creating a supportive environment is also key to catching and replacing negative thoughts. Surround yourself with people who uplift and encourage you, and limit exposure to negative influences that reinforce limiting beliefs. Whether it's social media, news, or relationships, the content and people we engage with can shape our thoughts and attitudes. By consciously choosing positivity and surrounding ourselves with supportive individuals, we create an atmosphere where positive thoughts and actions can thrive. In addition to these practical steps, it's important to recognize that replacing negative thoughts is an ongoing process. It's not something that happens overnight, and it requires patience and consistency. Negative thoughts may still arise from time to time, but with practice, we can catch them more quickly and replace them with thoughts that empower us. Over time, this practice becomes second nature, and we begin to develop a mindset that is more positive, resilient, and focused on growth. In conclusion, catching and replacing negative thoughts is a powerful skill that can dramatically improve our mental and emotional well-being. By becoming aware of our thoughts, challenging their validity, and replacing them with positive alternatives, we can transform our mindset and create a life that is more aligned with our goals and values. This process requires intention, practice, and self-compassion, but the rewards are worth the effort. When we learn to control our thoughts, we unlock our potential and set ourselves on the path to greater success, happiness, and fulfillment. Treating yourself like your best friend is one of the most transformative practices you can embrace in life. It's about offering yourself the same kindness, support, and understanding that you readily give to others. In a world that often demands more from us than we can give, it can be easy to neglect our own needs, to push ourselves too hard, or to be overly critical of our mistakes. However, when we treat ourselves with the same compassion and respect we would show to a close friend, we open the door to self-love, growth, and inner peace. This practice isn't just about self-care, it's about developing a relationship with yourself that is rooted in positivity, forgiveness, and encouragement. The first step in treating yourself like your best friend is to offer yourself kindness. Often we are our harshest critics, focusing on our flaws and shortcomings instead of acknowledging our strengths and achievements. We may tell ourselves that we're not good enough, that we don't deserve success, or that we're unworthy of love. These negative self-talk patterns can diminish our self-esteem and create feelings of inadequacy. But imagine if you spoke to yourself the way you would speak to a friend who was struggling. You would likely offer comfort, understanding, and encouragement. So why not do the same for yourself? Treating yourself with kindness involves being gentle with your thoughts and words, especially when you're feeling down or facing challenges. It means reframing your inner dialogue to be more supportive and compassionate. Another key component of treating yourself like your best friend is practicing self-compassion. Life is full of challenges, and everyone makes mistakes. Rather than berating yourself for perceived failures, take a moment to offer yourself the same forgiveness and understanding you would extend to a friend in the same situation. It's easy to get caught up in self-criticism when we fall short of our expectations, but self-compassion allows us to see our mistakes as opportunities for growth rather than as reflections of our worth. When we make a mistake, instead of beating ourselves up, we can ask, what can I learn from this, or how can I do better next time? By treating yourself with the same patience and forgiveness that you would offer a close friend, you allow yourself the space to grow and improve without feeling overwhelmed by guilt or shame. Part of being your own best friend is recognizing the importance of self-care. When we care for others, we make sure their needs are met, their well-being is prioritized, and their happiness is nurtured. Why not do the same for yourself? Self-care isn't just about pampering yourself with a spa day or taking a vacation, though those things can certainly help. It's about setting aside time for the things that nurture your body, mind, and soul. This could mean taking a walk in nature, reading a book that brings you joy, meditating, or simply resting when you're feeling tired. It's about respecting your own needs and making sure that you don't neglect your own well-being in the name of productivity or others' demands. When you prioritize self-care, you are reinforcing the message that you are worthy of love and attention, just like any good friend would be. Another powerful way to treat yourself like your best friend is by setting healthy boundaries. A good friend knows when to say no, when to take a break, and when to stand up for themselves. Similarly, you must learn to set boundaries that protect your mental, emotional, and physical health. This might mean saying no to commitments that don't align with your values, distancing yourself from toxic relationships, or carving out time for yourself amidst a busy schedule. Setting boundaries isn't selfish, it's an act of self-respect. It's about acknowledging your limits and honoring your needs. Just as a friend would protect their own well-being, you must do the same for yourself. When you create and maintain healthy boundaries, you create the space to thrive without feeling depleted or overwhelmed. In addition to setting boundaries, treating yourself like your best friend also means encouraging yourself to pursue your passions and dreams. A true friend would never hold you back or make you feel like your goals are impossible. Instead, they would cheer you on, offer words of encouragement, and remind you of your potential. In the same way, you should be your own biggest supporter. Believe in your abilities, celebrate your accomplishments, and take action toward the things that light you up. When you treat yourself with the same enthusiasm and encouragement that you would offer a friend, you begin to unlock your own potential and create a life that is aligned with your deepest desires. Another important aspect of treating yourself like your best friend is allowing yourself to experience joy and pleasure without guilt. Often we feel guilty for taking time to relax, have fun, or indulge in things that bring us happiness. We may think we're being lazy or unproductive, but the truth is that taking time to enjoy life is essential for our well-being. A good friend encourages you to have fun, laugh, and make memories without any sense of guilt or shame. In the same way, allow yourself to savor the moments that bring you joy, whether it's enjoying a delicious meal, spending time with loved ones, or engaging in a hobby that brings you peace. Embracing joy is an important part of treating yourself well. Lastly, treating yourself like your best friend involves being honest with yourself and seeking personal growth. A true friend would not let you stay stagnant or stuck in unhealthy patterns. Instead, they would encourage you to face challenges, learn from your experiences, and strive to become the best version of yourself. In the same way, you should hold yourself accountable for your own growth. This doesn't mean being harsh or critical, but rather it means being honest with yourself about areas where you can improve, seeking out opportunities for learning, and taking action to move forward. Personal growth is a continuous journey, and just as a best friend would support you through that process, you must offer yourself the same encouragement and commitment. In conclusion, treating yourself like your best friend is a practice that can radically transform the way you relate to yourself and the world around you. It involves offering yourself kindness, compassion, and support, setting boundaries, prioritizing self-care, pursuing your passions, and embracing joy. By treating yourself with the same love and respect that you would extend to a close friend, you create a foundation for growth, healing, and fulfillment. Remember, you are worthy of the same care and encouragement that you so freely give to others. Treat yourself like your best friend, and you will begin to see yourself in a whole new light, one filled with self-love, empowerment, and endless potential. Self-talk is one of the most powerful tools we possess for shaping our reality. It is the inner dialogue we have with ourselves, the thoughts we entertain, and the stories we tell ourselves about who we are and what we are capable of. While external circumstances can certainly influence our lives, it is our self-talk that ultimately determines how we respond to those circumstances. Whether we realize it or not, our inner dialogue plays a significant role in shaping our emotions, behaviors, and outcomes. When we master our self-talk, we gain control over our thoughts, which in turn gives us mastery over our actions and results. The first step in recognizing the power of self-talk is to become aware of it. Many of us go through life on autopilot, unaware of the constant stream of thoughts running through our minds. These thoughts can range from supportive and encouraging to critical and limiting. We might tell ourselves, I can do this, or this is too hard, I'm not good enough, or I'll never succeed. These thoughts, often automatic and subconscious, have a profound effect on our emotions and behavior. If our self-talk is negative or self-defeating, it can lead to feelings of anxiety, self-doubt, and inaction. On the other hand, positive self-talk can lead to feelings of confidence, motivation, and resilience. Recognizing the role self-talk plays in our lives is the first step toward gaining control over it. Once we are aware of our self-talk, the next step is to challenge any negative or unhelpful thoughts. Negative self-talk often stems from deeply ingrained beliefs and past experiences. For example, if we've faced repeated failures in the past, we may internalize the belief that we are incapable of success. If we've been criticized or rejected by others, we might begin to tell ourselves that we are unworthy or not good enough. These beliefs are not facts, they are simply thoughts that we have come to accept as truth. By challenging these thoughts, we can begin to reframe them and create a new narrative. For example, instead of thinking, I always fail, we can replace that thought with, I have faced challenges, but each one has taught me something valuable, and I can use those lessons to succeed in the future. It's important to remember that not all negative thoughts are inherently true. They are often based on fear, past experiences, or limiting beliefs, and they do not have to define who we are or what we can achieve. By actively questioning these thoughts and looking for evidence to the contrary, we can begin to dismantle the negative narratives we've built about ourselves. The more we challenge these limiting beliefs, the more we free ourselves from their grip, allowing us to take control of our thoughts and shape our future outcomes. The next step in mastering self-talk is to consciously replace negative thoughts with positive, empowering ones. This is where the practice of affirmations comes into play. Affirmations are positive statements that we repeat to ourselves regularly in order to reprogram our subconscious mind. For example, if we struggle with self-doubt, we might use affirmations such as, "I am capable of achieving my goals, I believe in myself," or "I have the skills and resources to succeed." By consistently repeating these affirmations, we start to reinforce positive beliefs about ourselves and our abilities, shifting our self-talk from one of limitation to one of empowerment. However, simply repeating positive affirmations isn't always enough. It's essential that we truly believe in the words we're saying and feel them on a deeper level. If we tell ourselves, "I am confident," but deep down we don't believe it, the affirmation will have little impact. To make affirmations effective, we need to align them with our true desires and intentions. We can also make them more powerful by visualizing the success we want to achieve and feeling the emotions associated with it. For example, when affirming that we are confident, we can imagine ourselves in situations where we exude confidence, feel the emotions of success, and embody the belief that we are capable. The more we connect our affirmations with emotion and visualization, the more they begin to shape our reality. Another key aspect of self-talk mastery is practicing self-compassion. Often our self-talk can be harsh and judgmental, especially when we make mistakes or fall short of our goals. Instead of beating ourselves up or dwelling on our failures, we can choose to speak to ourselves with kindness and understanding. This means acknowledging our mistakes without attaching shame or guilt to them. Just as we would comfort a friend who is struggling, we should offer ourselves the same level of support and compassion. Self-compassion allows us to embrace our imperfections and learn from our experiences rather than being paralyzed by fear of failure or self-criticism. Self-talk also plays a crucial role in how we approach challenges and adversity. When faced with obstacles, our self-talk can either propel us forward or hold us back. If we tell ourselves, "This is too hard, I can't do it," we are more likely to give up or avoid taking action. However, if we reframe the situation by saying, "This is difficult, but I can handle it or I will figure this out," we approach the challenge with a mindset of resilience and problem solving. The way we talk to ourselves in moments of adversity determines whether we persevere or give up. By consciously choosing to speak to ourselves in ways that encourage perseverance and optimism, we develop the mental fortitude needed to overcome challenges and continue moving forward. Mastering self-talk is also about being present in the moment and not letting negative thoughts from the past or future dictate our actions. Often, our self-talk is clouded by regret about past mistakes or anxiety about what might happen in the future. We may replay past failures in our minds or worry about things that haven't even occurred yet. However, these thoughts are often unproductive and can prevent us from fully engaging with the present moment. By grounding ourselves in the present and focusing on what we can control right now, we can shift our self-talk to be more focused, purposeful, and aligned with our goals. The more we practice positive, empowering self-talk, the more it becomes second nature. Over time, we build a habit of speaking to ourselves with kindness, encouragement, and optimism, and this habit shapes our mindset and behavior. When we master our self-talk, we gain greater control over our emotions, actions, and outcomes. We become more resilient in the face of challenges, more confident in our abilities, and more capable of achieving our goals. Self-talk truly is self-mastery. It is the foundation upon which we build our lives, and by mastering it, we unlock the potential to create the life we desire.